we identified workforce development as a major issue facing our industry, which was very interesting. We do an annual survey every year, and as we started coming out of this economy, the number one issue was creating additional market share for jobs and creating jobs, et cetera. And then as we were coming out of the economic downturn, in our surveys we were noticing on a year-to-year basis that workforce development started becoming a bigger challenge. It finally peaked a couple of years ago. Our group said we have to do something about this, so we began looking into all the organizations that are engaged in acquiring potential talent to come into any industry, whether it's construction or manufacturing. That was the first issue. This is one of those examples of a local county board moving this issue to the top. And so what we did was we consulted with the Maricopa County Workforce Board about creating a program, an intake program for construction. Simultaneous to that, AASHTO, DOL, AGC, ARTBA, et cetera, were creating this pilot program. This happened to just fit right in. So we had some of the mechanics already prior. We had a little bit of an advantage because we had some of the mechanics already established prior to the announcement of the program. So we were able to bring those parties together to identify potential, we call it, in our vernacular, it is bringing the employees to the employers, connecting those two. I think it's important to have the highest level at the table because the dominoes roll down from there. The cascading is impacted more when the folks at the top of the pyramid are there. So we were very fortunate in having folks at the top engage in this from the very beginning. One of the things that we made sure that we had a commitment from our contractors is, regardless of the candidate pool, we want to make sure that every individual that goes through our industry readiness class has a job. That becomes the incentive for those folks to stay there, tough it out, and then they're hired. So to the extent, not only is it industry driven as it relates to organizationally, but it has to be industry driven as it relates to hiring folks. Department of Labor has resources that are available to help with these types of programs. For example, the industry readiness class is not free, right? This doesn't just fall off the tree. The folks that are engaged in that program have to be paid. Well, there are resources available. Not only that, here's what's fantastic about the program. We are taking care of a great social need. The Workforce Investment and Opportunity Act is created to help folks in need, okay? There are folks from 18 to 26 that need help, that due to some circumstance, they got a little bit off track. There are individuals that are dislocated workers, right, that need help just to be able to see an inventory of what's available out there. This isn't a shotgun approach where we bring 10,000 folks in or 7,500 and then we do interviews and hire, 12 of them. We concentrate on bringing in a qualified group already so we have low retention, and then they're sent out. This last class we only had 7, but all 7 of them were hired. All 7 of them went through from Monday through Friday, and then all 7 of them were hired. What's the number one thing that makes a human being feel great is having a job, right? At the end of the day, if you can provide for your family and you can provide for society as a whole, and you can be a productive part and say, hey, look, I built that. That's awesome.